Alright, so in this video I want to go over how you can create a themed toggled group kind of set of buttons. So essentially if you click on one, it will have a very nice animation, plus you'll be able to select a few and you will be able to create a limit of how many items can be selected. So right now I set it to 3, and if we click more than 3 items, you'll notice that the last item will be replaced with the newest item, and so on. And if you want to remove an item, all you have to do is click on it again. But let's take avocados back, remove carrots, and add some oranges. And you will be able to modify it so you can select as many as you want and create the kind of limits that you want. But after you've selected everything, let's go down and click on Done. And you'll notice we'll have a toast message that shows the items that we've selected. So you'll be able to use that to further edit your app and to make sure you can use these selections for something else. But yeah, the whole video will be centered on making this so that you can add some cool options. So the first thing we want to do is go to our Gradle scripts folder and click on build.gradle. And for this video, we'll be using the themed toggle button group dependency by Brian X. So just go down where it says themed toggle button group and copy these two dependencies. One's going to be for a flexbox and one's going to be used for the button group. Then we're just going to insert it at the bottom of all these dependencies. And as always, we're going to go ahead and provide the build features for our view binding. So view binding, and set that to true. Then we can go ahead and click on sync now. And right after that, we should close our Gradle scripts, open our res folder, go to the layout, activity_main.xml, and click on the split view. We're going to change this to a relative layout. And the first thing we're going to create here, after removing the text view, is a themed toggle button group, which for the width will match the parent and for the height will wrap content. Then we will give it an ID of fruit_button_group. We will set the center to parent to true, and we should justify the content so there is space between them. Then we want to call flexWrap and call wrap to make sure that everything gets wrapped correctly. Then we have some toggle options such as the required amount, which I will set to a minimum of 1, and the selectable amount, which I will set to a maximum of 3. And then there are some animations such as the select animation, and you can choose to have a circular reveal, horizontal slide, fade, vertical slide. I recommend you play around with these because they are too difficult to explain, but very easy to see the effect immediately. And we're just going to click on circular reveal because I think that one looks the best. And then we want to open this up so we can insert some items. And inside here, all we have to do is create a few themed buttons. So type in theme button, and you should select the one at the top, which says themed button. And for the width, it will be wrap content, but for the height, we'll type in 38 dp. And we'll give it an ID of button 1. And a margin of 10 dp. Then we can give it a toggle text of oranges and a toggle selected background color, which we can just click on black for now because we will use this selector to pick the orange one. And then close that. Now all you have to do is copy and paste this as many times as you want the options to appear. So for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and create 4 options to keep it simple. But in the description below, you should be able to find a Git repository that will have much more options than this. So we're going to change this to button 2, button 3, and button 4. The second one is going to be called apples, and we're going to change the color to red. Then we can go type in grapes and change this to some sort of purple. And finally, carrots, which can also be orange again. But let's make it a different orange. And we're just going to leave it at 4 for this example, but of course you're more than welcome to continue copying and pasting, so you'll have many more options. But after you've created your options, go ahead and click on your main activity. And the first thing we're going to create is a latent var of binding, which is going to be of type activity main binding. We will instantiate it here by typing in activity main binding.inflate, pass in the layout inflator. Then we will delete this and insert the binding.root. Then as always, compat delegate, set default night mode, app compat delegate, and mode night now, because we want it to remain in light mode. Then we'll call our binding dot fruit button group, and we will set an on-click listener. And we're just going to create a toast with the application context, and the text is going to be it.text. So it will take the title of the button and it will return the text of that button. And it's actually my fault. I did not mean to set an onClick listener. I meant to set an onSelect listener. So after changing that, you should be able to get rid of the error for the it.text. And I actually forgot, let's go back to our activity underscore main XML because we have to create a button as well. So at the very bottom of the group, we're gonna create a button. And first thing we want to do is wrap content, give it an ID of button underscore done, give it a text of done, center it in parent, align it to the parent bottom, and give it a margin of 10 dp. So we'll be able to select the items as soon as we click done. But let's go back to our main activity now. And we're going to call binding.buttonDone, and we're going to set an onClick listener. Now the first thing we want to create is a value of text, which is going to equal the binding.fruit group, and it's going to collect all of the selected buttons. Then we want to create a value of fruit list, which is going to be a mutable list of type string. Then we're going to go ahead and create a for loop. So it's going to be for the fruit that's in the text. We want to cycle through all of the selected buttons. And for each fruit, we want to add to our fruit list the fruit.text. So this will cycle through all of the items that have been added to the selected buttons, and it will return it into the form of a list of string. Then we can go ahead and create one more toast and write application context as the context, and add a message that said you selected and insert the fruit list. And of course, in a real application, you'll be able to send this list to another fragment or to a settings fragment, so the user will have some options that have been saved. And this is just to show you that you can pretty much retrieve the values from this selected button group and put them anywhere you want. But with that being said, let's go ahead and click on run. And as you can see, now we have 4 options. So if we click on oranges, it will pick oranges. If we click on apples, we'll have apples selected, and then grapes will also be selected. And if we click on carrots, oranges will disappear. If we click on carrots, carrots will disappear. Let's select oranges again. And then once we click on done, you should get a toast message that says you selected apples, grapes, and oranges. And even if we remove these 2, you'll see that when we click done, you'll get what has been selected. So that was the basics of how to use this dependency. Of course, if you have any other questions, leave them in the comment section below. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.